Sir, shall we start the session?
Yeah, sure. Definitely.
Yeah,
We shall
thank you very
start
much
now.
for permitting us to start the session.
Yeah.
Once again, I welcome all the dear participants in our Atal FDP program, AICT Training and Learning Academy on redesigning pedagogy, educating for the innovation and fostering for the society. It is a great pleasure for me to introduce one of the eminent speaker, Dr. Dasarath Bhai M. Patel. He is the Associate Professor, Gujarat Technological University, Graduate School of Pharmacy. Gujarat Technological University is the well-known university in the entire world, and it's doing the well activity, and sir is working there. He has 21 years of rich experience with a blend of teaching, research, administration, and industry. He completed his B.Pharm in 1997 and M.Pharm in pharmaceutics and pharmaceutical technology in 1999 from the one of the oldest and nationally reputed LM College of Pharmacy, Ahmedabad, affiliated with the Gujarat University. He has passed his GATE entrance examination with the 95.37 percentile. All India rank is 92 for admission in PG with the scholarship from the AICT. He earned his PhD in pharmaceutical science in 2005 from Hemchandracharya North Gujarat University, Patan. Previously, he has worked with the Rafael College of Pharmacy, Vapi, Sri B.M. Shah College of Pharmacy and Education and Research, Modasa Parul Institute of Pharmacy, Limda as a principal. He served his duty as into the Sri Sarvajanik Pharmacy College, Mehsana as a professor and HOD. He has also worked as a controller of examiners in Gujarat University, Ahmedabad. At Arihant School of Pharmacy and Bio Research Institute, Adalaj, as a professor and director, PG and research. He has delivered more than 40 expert and guest lecture to the different QIP and continuous education programs. His research area is formulation development of conventional and novel drug delivery systems. He has filed one patent. He has 46 national research publications, 15 international research publications, 10 review articles, and he has wrote 5 books in his credit. He has guided more than 36 MPharm research students, 6 PhD students, and guiding currently 4 PhD students. He has received a grant of rupees 32 lakhs from the AICT New Delhi under the Research Promotion Scheme, MODROPS and Staff Development Program. He has undertaken several industrial consultancy projects for the formulation and development. He is a referee for more than 10 journals of the national and international reputed. In his credit, member Board of Studies and professional bodies, lifetime member of LMCP, Alumni Association and Research Society, life member of Indian Pharmaceutical Association, life member of Association of Pharmaceutical Teachers of India, life member of Association of Pharmacy Professionals. He is Secretary APTI Gujarat State Branch for the duration of 2016 to 2021. He is also the member of Board of Study Faculty of Pharmacy, CUSA University. He is member at DPC Reviewer Committee, Gujarat Technological University, Dharamsi Desai University, Ganpat University, Sumandeep University, and Sakalchand Patel University. Sir, we welcome you in our FDP. Now session for you, sir, open.
Yes, thank you. Dr. Naitik for nice introduction. Just I'm sharing my screen. I'm not finding the message that your screen is shared. Is it visible, Naitik sir? My screen is shared.
No, sir.
Just a minute. Uh, I think it's shared now.
Yeah, sir. Right now it's shared, sir.
Okay. Is my slide visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's moving. Again, I would like to check it. Screen is moving
Yes,
now?
sir. Yes, sir. Perfectly, sir.
Okay. Good morning, dear fellow colleagues and academicians working in different pharmaceutical educational institutes. I'm extremely delighted and happy to share with you uh, a talk on funding agencies for research. As Dr. Naitik has told me that, sir, this would be an appropriate topic for you. So I'll try my best to deliver you what is the various funding agencies available for research in the pharmaceutical domain, and which are the various agencies, what is their requirements, and how can we go for that research funding. Now, we know as teachers, the major role of educational institutes, where majority we are dealing with teaching, if it is UG program or it may be PG program. Uh, at the same time, our field is what we can say it continuously evolving field, technological field, and that's why things are changing very rapidly, and that's why we have to create learning resources based on updated technologies. That is our second role, right? In addition to teaching, carrying out research work or projects, it is definitely a part to build our resume also, and to be involved in various research projects, guiding people for research. See, after the experience of 15, 20 years, usually people like me and other senior teachers usually will be involved, not directly in the research. They'll not be able to go to a laboratory to pursue the research, but they'll be better mentoring or guiding the people for the research. And the funding may be available with them, but the funding may be diversified to their PG students or their PhD students. Conducting extension programs like what this is again one of the extension activity, carrying out the consultancy services based on research output. See, this is very important area of consultancy services. As far as I know, that a small sector of pharmaceutical industries have no separate formulation development department, and they are facing a lot of challenges of formulation development. And at our end, if we have good facilities to carry out the research project based on technologies and the instrumentation facilities available with us, we can work out the projects, and then we can sell this technology by developing their products. And that is what a consultancy services I have done for some of the small scale industries. Now, going to the major problems associated with attracting research funds. What's wrong with capturing the fund is a quality of research in India. As we know, definitely, and you will also agree with me. See, the reason I would like to quote here is you might have heard about CSIR, right? Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. What was the intention to start these institutes? I don't know whether you all are aware or not, But definitely senior teachers may be aware about what was the goal to establish the CSIR by the government of India, right? And they are funded with lot of money, right, in crores every year. But when we talk about, the purpose was to establish research facilities that can supply the technologies to the industry as per their new demands. That was the major goal, right, to establish the CSIR. But in spite of establishment in 1985, there are very few projects that have come to the public domain, or we can say that are commercialized, right? And that's why that put a finger on a research quality that is carried out in India, even by CSIR also, right? The reason, the major goal was to develop a technology that can be commercialized, but till date, if we can count, hardly we can count few 4 or 5 projects that are commercialized, yeah, from the CSIRs also. And that is a quality of research in India and not matching the global standard. And that's why the purpose was similar, or the analogy was to establish the industry institute linkage, so that research can be carried out that is really needed in a context of the society requirement. And that was the purpose to establish CSIS, right? But still, I would say you may not be happy with the figures of the projects that are commercialized. So it's not matching global standards, definitely, and we have to accept that. It is fact, and we have to accept, right? Over the years, this quality of research is declining. See, the quality of research is declining, means it's not focusing to the real needs of the society. The declining quality of research is reflected in Indian pharmaceutical journals. Definitely, if we see about the publication house of Indian origin in terms of pharmaceutical journals, Scopus and a general citation report, data of Indian journals are having very poor impact factor, less than 1, right? Based on JCR data, only 93 Indian journals feature in the list of journals with impact factor published from India in 2016. These are the data, again, data I have taken 5 years back data, right? But see, only 93 journals were having the impact factor. And we know there are ample of journals that are published from the Indian publishing house. And out of these 93 journals, only handful of Indian journals, hardly 10 to 12 journals have impact factor more than 1. Otherwise, majority of the journals will have an impact factor less than 1. And you'll be surprised to note, recently published, if you have gone through a chat of Indian pharma professionals, that's a WhatsApp group. I hope you all are added to that group, right? So see, even this is after tomorrow, yesterday, when I was gone through the chat, the so-called journals without ISSN, it's put into the UGC CAL list also. See, not applicable. You will see Ananya, the journal title, right? Goa Konkani Academy, journal published by the, without ISSN number, what we are expecting the quality of the journals. Without ISSN number, even UGC CARE committee has approved this journal in UGC CAL list. So at the same time, to improve the quality of research, the UGC and our other regulatory bodies also have to work in a fair way, in a stringent way, to improvise the quality of a publication as well as the research. Now, many funding agencies today look for authors as index and number of citations before sanctioning research. This is very important. And that's why it is always a hurdle for a new researcher to attract the funds unless they have as index or I-10 index that is acceptable to funding agencies as a personal portfolio of a research scholar, right? Uh, and funding is based on these indices nowadays, right? Because now it's publicly available and based, and that's why for a new researchers uh, to attract the fund is a major issue, and that's why they can attract the fund from funding agencies that are specifically providing the funding, and they should start with a small funding of 1 lakh, 2 lakh, and then once their resume is built in a particular area of research, they can attract a large funding. Interaction with industry is poor. This is again, see, I'm observing since last 20 years of my academic career. Definitely, industry was having hesitation to be in a contact with academia, and they believed that academicians are not doing. But I'm sure that they people are also, before 5 years the scenario was different. Now industry people have also realized that there is a need to interact with academics or academicians that are good at research, that who are involved in a research or genuine research, so we can get some lead from academic institutes. And that's why now in last 5 years the scenario is changed. Earlier scenario was that industry was not ready to sit with the academia, but now they have realized the need to sit with the academia to have a good research outputs to benefit the society. So definitely, still the interaction is poor, but it has been improved little bit in compared to the earlier 10 years. Now in last 5 years, people from industry are ready to interact. If you are going with your what strengths and weaknesses, and if you want to collaborate with them, they are ready now to give you their projects to develop to some level in your institute. Lack of frequent industry academia interaction leads to poor funding from private entities and companies. See, only funding agencies based on government is not a source of funding, because again that is a public money and that is limitedly available with the funding agencies too. And that's why if really you want to capture a good amount, reasonable amount of research funding, I personally believe that private industries and companies is a major source. They have a lot of problems. But the thing needed is to interact with them, to know their problems, and if you are able to solve their problems, you will have a better source of research funding. To tap funds from pharmaceutical industry to participate in clinical trials and carry out clinical research activities. FARMD program, which was started, this is again, I know you will be agree with me that a FARMD program was instituted by PCI to make the impact on clinical research forward, right? But till now, the in real sense, we have not made any progress in PharmD programs. Even there is a big issue of placement of PharmD students in industry as well in academia. So that is what the purpose was different, and really the role was not established. Failure to produce any significant new drug candidates from either pharmaceutical industry or academic institutions from India is another reason for lack of funds. This is again funding, definitely research require funds, right? So basic research, a lot of fund is required, and in that case, your funding agencies may help you. But for small scale formulation development, analytical development work can be funded by industries, particularly small scale industries. Now, what is the requirement of research? This is very important. Research needs interest, very important. When we talk about the research, A researcher should have an interest in a particular domain uh, to conduct the research. Motivation, it also requires motivation. This is very important. Now, what motivation is required, particularly uh, a senior teachers, those who have already drawn some fund, they are having experience of conducting the research, they should motivate their fellow teachers, those are who are fresh or less experienced, to conduct the research and to apply for the funds. So motivation is very important. If you motivate your fellow colleagues, definitely the research funding for a particular institute can be increased. Academic support, definitely support from the higher authorities of the institute is equally important. Administrative support, financial support, and subordinate support. Subordinates means those who are working with a team, right? Is equally important. Family level support. This is very important. Family level support means research is not having a fixed boundary of time. You cannot conduct a research or a good research if you'll bound yourself in 11 to 5 timing, right? So timeline, bound timeline will not support the research activity, and that's why if you want to conduct a good research, and that may not be possible after 20 or 30 years where you are socially involved in so many activities, but at early age of academic career, 5 10 years, definitely family should be supportive to conduct the research. Health and age, definitely nowadays health is very important. And again, age, I would say age here means uh, age has no bar to conduct research, right? You can be young at 60 and you can be old at even 30, right? It's a mental game or a mental state you want to develop yourself. Now, from where we can obtain the resources of fund for the research? It may be institutional. See, many universities have their own research funding. I would like to tell you that GTU has its own policy of a seed money scheme, SMS, and that is instituted last year by the Gujarat Technological University to support research scholars in the limitation of 25,000, and for the faculty members with a limit of 1 lakh. The reason is such policies are important to be instituted by either institute or if it is university affiliated, then university. And this scheme is earlier it was launched for only for the PG departments, but now this year it was revised and it was available for affiliated colleges also, right? But there are 2 cycles of the seed money scheme. So those who are affiliated with GTU may go through website of GTU and may opt for a seed money scheme. It is now available for affiliated colleges also. See, such funding will create the base for a further funding, because a new teacher will not have publications on a particular area of research. So how can you build your base for conducting the research in a particular area? Is starting with such small projects in a particular area of your interest with small funding, and then you may have completed projects in your biodata. You will have some publications related to your area of interest, and definitely that will help you to attract more funding. Local level bodies, like there are many local level bodies are promoting the research for society, that may be contacted. State government level bodies like Guj Coast at state government, and other state government bodies can be central government bodies, and later on we'll see the elaborative list of the various bodies. International bodies are also funding research projects if it's good to conduct research. Company based R&D, and that is what a consultancy, as I've told you, and some NGOs are also interested in various type of research. So when we talk about agency for funding research projects in India, there are three types of organizations. I have divided or categorized this organization three categories to academic institutes who can fund in India. R&D sponsoring bodies. See, there are funding agencies called as research and development sponsoring bodies. There are certain agencies called as R&D performing bodies, right? CSIR is again R&D performing body, and a central ministry supporting the research and development project. So broadly, there are three types of organizations for funding the research in India: R&D sponsoring body, R&D performing bodies, and the central ministry supporting R&D projects. You are here. I'm with after 1 hour. We'll meet. Okay. So central ministry supporting the R&D projects. Now, sponsoring bodies, R&D sponsoring bodies are, we know, majority of the departments, AICT, Central Power Research Institute, CPRI, DST, that is a major funding source nowadays, under which there are various schemes. Department of Information Technology, DIT, this is for particularly engineering field. Department of Biotechnology, DBT, Department of Ocean Development, DOD, particularly life sciences students, and even pharmacy students or pharma. If you are working in a project related to any polymer development from the ocean alga or other, then they will fund. But you should have a previous experience of such working. Department of Coal, Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, that is DSIR, Indian Metallurgical Department, Petroleum Conservation Research Association, and University Grant Commission, UGC. So, see, I have highlighted these four, right? AICT, DST, DBT, and UGC. The reason I have highlighted here is these are more appropriate sponsoring bodies for the pharmacy projects or projects related to pharmaceutical development. R&D performing bodies, when we talk about performing bodies, see, these are sponsoring bodies, means they fund directly. Here, R&D performing bodies means government has developed them to perform the research. Okay, and that's what I have already told you, CSIR. Okay, Department of Atomic Energy, Defense Research Development of DRDO, and we are well known. DRDO is carrying out a lot of research activities. And if we talk about COVID-19 pandemic, 2-deoxyglucose, right? 2-DZ was the drug developed by them. Department of Space, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, Indian Council of Medical Research, and Indian Council of Agricultural Research. The reason, see here again, among all departments, you will have CSIR and ICMR. But they are not providing more fund. See, a difference in a performing body and a sponsoring body is a performing bodies will provide you less funding compared to the sponsoring bodies, but small projects with a small grant up to 1 to 5 lakhs can be attracted from CSIR as well as ICMR. Central ministries supporting R&D projects. Here, the ministries, different ministries are involved in supporting. Ministry of Environment and Forest. These are particularly for research of environmental. If you are involved in any impact of environmental hazards or research of environment, then Ministry of Environment and Forest will be helpful. Food processing and industries. MOFPI is also a Ministry of Food Processing. So any food processing project can be supported by a MOFPI. And this is again open to not only to pharmacy, but it is open for all the people who are involved in food processing. Even pharmacists can start their own food processing industry if they are interested. Ministry of Non-Conventional Energy Sources, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Ministry of Water Resources, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Human Resource Development, which MHRD, and Ministry of Rural Development, MRD. This is again any projects that is having impact on a rural economy or rural lifestyle, life improvement, and project have a potential, then it will be supported by Ministry of Rural Development. So I hope now you are clear that there are three types of funding available from a sponsoring bodies, from a performing bodies, and from a central ministries. And each uh, funding source, resource have their own requirements of the work area, and they are defining their key area of research. And from that you have to take the project. When we are talking about AICT research institutional development schemes like modernization and removal of obsolescence, I hope majority of the senior teachers may be aware about MODROPS. When a department is 5 or 10 years old and you want to update technology in your department, the MODROPS is a good scheme from the AICT. But now at the same time, I would like to quote that till now we were having a dual regulation of AICT and PCI. But now AICT has given you a relaxation that it's not mandatory to be in AICT. So the funding of AICT will be available only to those who are with the AICT. And majority of the institutes now, pharmaceutical institutes, have not opted for the AICT, right? So that is again a very big dilemma for every institute, that once we have been removed or we have not applied for AICT, the funding is again a major problem for those institutes from the AICT. Research promotion scheme, that was RPS, are the two research and institutional development scheme. And same way, on other hand, AICT also promotes certain schemes that are schemes to work in hand with industry, right? And that's an industry institute interaction scheme like Industry Institute Partnership Cell, IIPC, Entrepreneurship Development Cell, EDC, National Facility in Engineering and Technology with Industrial Collaboration, that called NAFETIC, and Nationally Coordinated Project, NCP. This is again, the funding is much higher in these schemes, right? NCP, if I'm not wrong, the earlier fund was 50 lakhs, right, for Nationally Coordinated Project, where you can collaborate with team of different organizations may propose a project in support of the industry. Now, which are the key areas of support from AICT? Engineering and research, engineering technology, architect, town planning, management, and pharmacy. Because these are the technical courses that are what regulated by the All India Council for Technical Education. See, these are some key highlights of the MODROPS. What normally it's called modernization and removal of obsolescence in the laboratories or workshops. Workshops will be for engineering field, while laboratories will be for pharmacy field. So as to enhance the functional efficacy of technical institutes for teaching, training, and research purposes, AICT approved technical institutes or university department with at least, as I told you, 10 years of existence is the requirement. Means if my institute is 5 years old, I cannot apply, or I will not be eligible to apply for the MODROPS, right? So my age of the institute should be more than 10 years. Maximum funding is 20 lakhs with 2 years duration, where you can procure, take your fund or develop your laboratory facility in a phase of first and second year. Patentable technology development is again 20, the limit is same, right? But if you want to develop a patentable technology in terms of instrumentation, right, where you can get a patent, that can also be covered under MODROPS. From last year, the AICT has developed two separate areas, MODROPS Rural and MODROPS Urban. right? And see, in case of Model Rural, AICT approved technical institutes, university department is at least. See, this was a relaxation given by AICT, particularly for the institutes that are in rural sector or rural area and having l- 5 years experience of the existence can also apply. And that was certain, what you can say, instead of 10 years, there was a relaxation of 5 years for rural institutes. RPS again, a research promotion scheme, is applicable for any approved technical institute or university department with relevant PG programs with at least 10 years of experience. PG program, very important, right? You should have a PG, then only you will have uh, this scheme will be granted. Duration of the scheme is usually 3 years, and 3 research avenues within RPS are the following: proof of concept work. See, very important. The funding is available based on your proposal, what you are proposing. If you are making a proposal, you have worked something in a particular project and you have a proof of concept of work, right? Means your proposal shows that your project will be able to develop a proof of concept work, right? Then it will be funded 5 to 10 lakhs. If a capacity building for research, right, like doctoral research in reputed institute, this is very important. If you are working as a doctoral fellow, then capacity building research and your mentor, okay, here the fund will be available to conduct a doctoral research where the principal applicant would be a mentor of a doctoral student, right? And if it leads to a doctoral development after end of the project, then the fund will be 12 to 15 lakhs. And if you are able to develop a technology, your project has a potential to develop a technology that can be patentable, it may be funded up to 25 lakhs. So RPS has different categories based on your proposal, you will be funded. Industry Institute Interaction Cell, again, the purpose to establish this is encouraging the conduct of industrial training programs, facilitating exchange of resource person from industry to academia, academia to industry, carrying out the industrial R&D at the institute, conduct of industrial visits, developing appropriate curriculum. Appropriate curriculum is very essential in requirement of the industry, and that's why it is better to involve people from the industry in the curriculum development committee and to undertake consultancy services. Definitely, industry institute interaction will facilitate a real research, involvement of teachers in what you can say industrially relevant research and current research. And at the same time, uh, the academic institutes will be supported by research funding from the industry. Uh, One is NEFETIC. Again, it is a national level facilities in the frontier areas of engineering technology. See, this is related to what uh, for engineering research. In product development, basic research, troubleshooting, or consultancy and testing and training purposes. So this is again establishing a center for doing collaboration with industry. EDC Entrepreneurship Development Cell, again, this is again the project based on uh, the institute that is approved by ICT and or the university department. And here, purpose is to encourage the students to consider self-employment as a career option and provide training in the entrepreneurship. So EDC entrepreneurship cell can be developed by any institute that is AICT approved or university department. And but the funding is again, the purpose is to train the students in the entrepreneurship area, and that's why the funding will be 6 lakhs in first year and 4 lakhs in second year. Total funding will be 10 lakhs in 2 years duration. NCP is again very important initiative by AICTE to plan, coordinate, and execute integrated R&D programs at national level by group of institutes. As I've told you, suppose I am working at GTU and some other group is working at support UD City or IICT Bombay, and we are working in the same area, and suppose uh, the collaboration is fruitful to generate something in the same area, then we may collaborate, and centrally funded institute like IITs, ISC, IIMs, and NITs are eligible for this. This is very important. See, and that's why the limitation here is in the NCP program is that your collaboration should be with nationally reputed institutes, particularly IITs, Indian Institute of Sciences, IIMs, and the NITs. So any small group can collaborate with these people, and if a better project is there, definitely it is. See, the purpose is to provide the fund to conduct research, facilitation of small institutes to work in IITs, ISC, and IIMs. That's the purpose. This was one more initiative, and the latest initiative taken by the AICTE is called QIP, Quality Improvement Program. QIP was the earlier scheme already available by the AICTE, wherein the people were able to pursue their higher study. Those who are working in teaching community with only a graduation qualification, BPharma, uh, they were facilitated to do their MPharma under the QIP programs, right? And same way, AICTE has extended one more thing, that's foreign university, QIP in foreign university, and this was declared by the UGC that the appointment of faculty, as we know, but again it was extended. The recent one it is extended for up to 22, right? All the people that are appointed as a faculty in higher educational institutes will be based on PhD, right? Means now the minimum qualification to enter into academics is PhD as per the declaration of MHRD, but earlier it was 21, now it is extended to 22. And a government of India bringing all out efforts to make in India is truly worthy to Indian context. That will reduce brain drain from the country. The purpose is to retain the people of India. What we know, the super brains are in India. Indian race is a race of super brains. We know it will talk about Google, or it may be Apple or Facebook, right? We know in every leading technology, the brain is Indian brains, and the purpose of such program or initiative was to brain drain the people and to can serve and attend, bringing back talent from abroad for India's progress. To make Indian faculty as par excellence with faculty in similar colleges or university in developed countries like USA, UK, Canada, Germany, and other developed countries is the second motto of the AICTE to offer QIP in foreign university. Now, need to address the above policy initiative and to deal with present gaps, missing links, need to extend the existing QIP in the form of QIP-E foreign university, and to fill the gap amongst the faculty having PhD by pursuing the same program from any of the foreign universities or institutes, and to reduce. And that's why we can say this is again what funding we can consider as PDF funding also. To support Indian tradition, Vasudev Kutumbakam, as we know, every entire world is a family. That's what the belief of the India. To strengthen India globally, and that is the purpose of QIP Foreign University. Now, what is eligibility for this QIP for a university? Full-time, regular, permanent faculty members of AICTE recognized degree level college are eligible to apply. The candidate should possess 3 years teaching experience, master degree in appropriate branch, admission offer in PhD program from the foreign university, right? You have to apply to foreign university for the PhD and of listed ranking system of previous 5 years, and your age must be below 40 years for general and 45 years in case of reserved category. So this is very important, good scheme for exposure of teachers that are fitting to age criteria and pursue their research in the abroad. See again, subject is again course of doctoral degree shall be as AICTE approved subject. 3 years extendable by a further period of 6 months and another extension of 6 months. Means scheme is for 3 years. However, it may be extended for 1 more year in a part of 6 months. And intake was 1,000 seats in a financial year. That was. I hope all may be aware about this scheme. Those who are not PhD, right, can opt their PhD in foreign university. Any of the enlisted top 500 universities that is already there, and based on a list of foreign universities, you may opt any university of the top 500 universities of the world. In this case, again, the funding is in 2 parts. The scholarship from AICTE shall be extended to faculty admitted in any of the top university of the 500 in the year, right? During this was that, and then the scholarship of 25,000 per month shall be provided to maximum of 1,000 members of the eligible faculty members of AICTE. This is again detail are available to the website. I am not going much detail, but what to be done by the parent institute, very important. On admission process, a concerned institute will relieve the academic candidate for PhD for 3 years. Okay, and if needed for 4 years, and based on recommendation of the research project supervisor, and beside training leave or deputation, faculty shall be entitled for normal salary. This is very important. Means you have to send the salary with faculty with salary, right, and the other allowance. Before relieving the faculty for PhD program, the institute must obtain undertaking that binds him or her to serve. This is very important. Now, the faculty, once earning their PhD from this scheme, should serve the parent institute for a period of 5 years after completion of PhD. And that is apart from the institute and the candidate. See, those who are interested and in the age criteria should refer to AICTE, provided you are with AICTE, your institute is with AICTE, right? It's very important condition nowadays. Indian Council of Medical Research, see, there
DM Patel sir, you are not audible. DM Patel sir.
list is again provided where we can see. So these green highlighted areas are the areas for us, right? Ad hoc research scheme and international travel by non-ICMR scientists. We can apply for international travel grant in this category and ad hoc research scheme. Now here ad hoc research scheme is requiring a registration to submit the proposal to ICMR. PI has to be first registered into the system Means now we know majority of the funding agencies, the applications are invited on an online portal now, right? And it is streamlined throughout the nation for almost all the funding sources. Okay, and they upload the resume. One only one page resume is to be uploaded, and system will allow adding a resume longer than one page. And the resume should contain information on the recent publications of last 5 years with full bibliographic details, and this should not include papers in press, right? Only published papers are to be included. In the resume, PI should also indicate the financial support received from ICR in past, present, or pending, and from other sources, past, present, and pending. So this is requirement to go for the ad hoc research scheme. Second step is initially the investigators are required to submit a concept proposal only. This is, and that's why it's called ad hoc research scheme. Because you are proposing something, and where you have your mind not exceeding 3 to 5 pages. So you have to propose a concept only. And if your concept has a potential to be converted into a project, it will be funded, which describes the justification, objective, novelty, applicability, and expected outcomes, benefits, and proposed methodology, the duration of the project, and a tentative budget. And the investigators may look into a thrust area of research of council. People will identify, and then your concept will be converted to proposal. And after receiving the concept proposal, a unique project identification number, your ID number, will be generated, and all the future correspondence and sanction will be quoted with this number, and the concept proposal received are evaluated by the council, and decision is communicated to you. The PI of the shortlisted concept proposal are asked to expand their proposal. Once, if your concept proposal is selected by the evaluators, you will be requested to provide your detailed proposal, and you have to submit in the online way, and the detailed project will also be evaluated by the council, and then you will be sanctioned if the project is selected. As I have already told you, your travel grant for non-ACMR scientist is available. It's again, we as a pharmaceuticals can also apply for financial assistance for presenting a research paper or chairing a session, as also delivering a lecture or delivering keynote address in international scientific event like conference, seminar, symposia, or workshop, right? The eligibility is the applicant should be a biomedical scientist engaged in R&D work, senior scientist about 35 years of age, working in academic institute or research laboratory are eligible to apply only for the international travel. Young scientists, okay, up to age limit of 35 years are also considered for participation in this for any scientific deliberation. The applicant should not have availed a this. This is condition again everywhere, right? Means if you are already with a funding from a particular agency in last 3 years, you will not be availing the funding from the same agency. So should not have taken the financial assistance from ICI in last 3 financial years. CSIR usually is a research schemes or sponsored schemes are proposed, emeritus scientific scheme, research fellowship. Areas of research support is science and technology, including agriculture, engineering, and medicine. And items not allowed out of grant are international travel, furniture, office equipment. This will not be part of it. And that's why, see, each agency provides you what will be covered, what will not be covered. You have to visit the website, and periodically the funding agencies are notifying their research proposal invitation. Professional study and other experts in regular employment in university, IIT, postgraduate institutes, colleges, recognized R&D laboratories are able. The schemes are emeritus scientific scheme. Here, this is a scheme provided to superannuated outstanding scientists. See, those who are retired to pursue research in their respective field of specialization and having relevance to programs of CSIR. So the core area of CSIR are already defined, and someone who is superannuated and interested to work in that, then it is emeritus scientist scheme is available to them. Junior Research Fellow JRF in a very important scheme for funding to our PG students or those who are teachers and working, right? But this is a young man and woman through all India examination. An examination is taken and selected research scholars are appointed initially as junior research fellow for a period of 2 years, subject to satisfactory performance on assessment. At the end of, they can be given higher stipend for remaining period in the form of senior research fellowship. So your JRF can be converted to SRF based on your progress. Award of senior research fellow SRF directly or through the progression, and it is also research associateship RA to encourage the research work, quality published work in their credit to pursue. So CSIR usually provides the grant in terms of JRF and SRF and research associates. Fellowship, especially there are Shyam Prasad Mukherjee Fellowship from the CSIR is available, and to nurture a budding scientist talent towards pursuit of scientific research is the aim or objective. And who can submit a proposal? The scheme is open to top 20% CSIR UGC JRF NET scholars. See, those who are in top 20 percentage of these exams, and along with top 100 GATE qualified candidates with percentile 99 and above will be supported for this research fellowship. When and how to submit? Once a year, okay, and July, second Sunday of July every year. Areas of research: basic sciences, 5 fellowship in each area, life science, where we come under life science, right? Or if you are working in physical science here, means if you are working with polymer characterization and other, you may apply under physical science too. Senior Research Associateship, that's called as SRA, where a PhD, MTech, MD, MS with 2 years of research or teaching experience and relevant publications can apply. And the prescribed format is available on the website. Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Prize, this is again the prize given to outstanding scientist, Indian citizen below 45 years is eligible to apply. Young scientist below the age of 35 years will be eligible to apply for this Young Scientist Award. Youth Leadership Science, again there are certain programs that are important from CSIR. Visiting Associateship Scheme, financial partial assistance for holding national or international conference in Korea. As I told you, they are also providing partial finance, not a fully fund, right? Something you have to bear as an institute, and partial finance may be available to organize any national international conference, symposium, seminar, or workshop in India. Partial travel grants to research scholars is also provided by CSIR. Entrepreneurship support to research scholars. If you want to go for something on your own venture, again, entrepreneurship fund is available. Faculty training program and adoption of school and college by CSIR level. CSIR itself has taken certain initiative to conduct the faculty development programs and training programs at schools. So see, CSIR is again, as I told you, it's a research conducting institute, and that's a limited funds are available, but funds are available in terms of fellowships, where you have to work at the CSIR as the junior research fellow or senior research fellow, right? Because it is not fund giving agency. That's what you can say, research organization. DRDO, again, this is not much relevant for pharmaceutical field, but they give the grants in a scheme of DRDO, Director of External Research, ER, Aeronautic Research and Development, But engineering side research or projects to Life Science Research Board (LSRB) is one of the area related to pharma. Okay, as we consider ourselves as a life science department, pharmacy comes under life science as far as funding is concerned, right? So Life Science Research Board (LSRB) is providing funding under DRDO. As I have told you, LSRB approves projects in area of biological and biomedical sciences. So we come under this LSRB. If anyone of us as a pharmacy researchers to be applied, we should go in DRDO, but again, we should be eligible under LSRB, Life Science Research Board. Department of Atomic Energy, this is not much relevant to us, right? But still, see, research has no boundaries. Someone is interested in conducting a research, and again, the motto of new education policy is also, and a transdisciplinary research is the research now people are interested. So, if someone in the engineering is proposing something and you believe that I can contribute on your interest, because see, people working in pharmacy are also good at engineering, right? There are many people I have seen that even though they have done pharma, their interest would be towards engineering side. Such people can collaborate with various transdisciplinary research to be a part of a research team where the project may be towards the Department of Atomic Energy. I'm not going in much detail with this as it is not that much relevant to our projects, right? Yes. Ayush, where we can say Department of Ayush, Yoga and Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha and Homeopathy. See, this is again Ayush department again provide a research in because we are again a part and parcel of herbal products and Ayurvedic products. So EMR, called as Extramural Research Project Scheme of Ayush, is system of right is available, and scheme for validation of traditional Ayurvedic drugs and development of new drugs. This is very important, and that's why Ayush is now considered to be a good funding agency for people, those who are working in herbal and Ayurvedic products. They may have good and looking to the new guidelines of phytopharmaceutical development, right? When instead of selling our products as a Ayurvedic product, if we are able to make phytopharmaceutical development, I think this is a good path to create good image and acceptability of our traditional Ayurvedic products once if it is established as a standardized product as a phytopharmaceutical. So to convert the Ayurvedic formulation to a phytopharmaceutical product, the research may be funded by the Ayush. And this is again a growing area where those who are working on herbals or Ayurvedic products can go for Ayush to convert the conventional Ayurvedic products to a phytopharmaceutical. Science and engineering, again, SCRC supports Science Engineering Research Council is support, and SERB is under the part, and training programs like, see, there are various support from the Science and Engineering Research Council, Women Scientist Scheme. Majority of funding is now available through the SERB, under the SERC, okay, and where FEAST fund for improvement of science and infrastructure in higher. This is again limited to very well known, already developed, and to extend the facility, fixed grant. UGC, again, the research projects under UGC are major research projects, including engineering technology, medical, pharmacy, and agri. Up to 12 lakhs, they are providing a major research funding. And a minor research project up to 1 lakh can be provided by UGC. UGC assistant to colleges, undergraduate education also, they provide the funding in terms of a plan a grant. As we know, it is available, right, as a plan grant. But as far as research funding is considered, normally UGC provide major and minor research project. Major research project up to 10 lakhs and minor up to 1 lakh. UGC also assists the arts commerce colleges also. We know they are equal to fund all technical as well as non-technical institutes. Research awards, cultural access program. UGC schemes, majority to the affiliated institutes, the UGC schemes will not be available. But for university departments, right, the UGC schemes will be available very easily with the university department teachers. College Humanities and Social Science Improvement Program. Scheme is called SHODH. It's again from the state level funding agency for those who are performing their full-time PhD. Under SHODH, the government has made a provision to provide 15,000 fellowship for a full-time PhD scholars at the institute. There are many international funding agencies also where we can see again. I would like to tell you till now what we have discussed about the funding sources in India from the Indian agencies, but there are many international funding agencies are also providing a very good fund in a collaborative way, provided there is a potential in your project, right? And there are many agencies that are providing: WHO, European Commission, WMO, FAO, UNICEF, UNDP, UNEP, UNESCO. These all are providing funding for development of technology and for the betterment of or addressing social issues, right? And there are many agencies. European Commission, as I've told you, the funding can be, if your project has a potential, right, with the impact internationally, you may get good fund from the international agency too. These are every country is collaborating with, and it is very good sign that India has collaboration with almost every country for the combined projects working with the developed countries. Commonwealth facilities, again, scholarship and other research schemes are available, award, fellowship and all. The scholarship and fellowships are again, they are called as funds, but in terms of scholarship and fellowships, right? From the different foreign agencies. Certain Indian non-government organizations and business houses, NGOs and certain business houses, right, also provide good amount of fund for research, right? IOC, Indian Oil Corporation, ONGC, right, is one of the and providing the good research funding. Tata Energy Research Institute. State level funding agencies like Westland Development Boards, Rural and Jila Panchayat also provide some research funding for projects related to what you can say environmental and rural development, pollution control board, agriculture, marketing research, mines and geology, conventional and non-conventional energy sources, urban wastewater treatment, uh, Department of Sports and Youth Affairs. So these are some state level funding agencies where they can provide, but these are funding agencies with limited fund amount uh, and addressing the issues related to socio-economic development. This we have already seen. DST schemes, very important. Department of Science and Technology is very much nowadays as a huge source for funding. SERC, as I've told you, Science and Engineering Research Council, and intensification of research in higher priority areas, higher HPA, deep considered studies, DCS, Himalaya scientific programs, HSP, monsoon and tropical climate, science and technology application for rural development, STERD, STERS are the various schemes, right? And scheme for young scientists, SIVS, TSP, CSP. So there are lot of schemes available from the DST in different segments. The Department of Biotechnology again provide a good amount of research funding, but the limitation is there your project work or project should be in the biotechnology area, right? Basis where we can have aquaculture, marine research, basic research in biotechnology or bioinformatics, crop biotechnology, biotechnology of medical and aromatic plants, biotechnology of silkworms and host plants. So this is again, if you are working in a project that is related to any of this area, it's DBT is a good source for funding. Electronics, it's not much related to us, but again, for those electronic engineering department, it's good source. Department of Ocean Development, ISRO sponsored research program, Ministry of Environment and Forest. See here again, but these are again various agencies, not for us. Ministry of Non-Conventional Energy Sources, rural energy, solar energy, urban industrial waste, power from wind, biomass, means renewable alternate sources of energy and new technologies are supported by non-conventional energy resources. Ministry of Non-Conventional means alternate energy resources, urban affairs and employment, Ministry of Welfare. TIFAC Core and FIST are again the DST's new schemes. UGC new schemes are available in e-content development projects. See, now UGC is working not only on research but to develop the e-content for literating people, and there are certain amount of fund available for the e-content development too in various modules. And those who are interested may visit the UGC website for e-content development. Now, very important. To avail the fund, how to prepare. Either you are at any stage, right? Either you are a young researcher or a researcher who has already obtained certain funding. You should see the funding agency. Okay. For what? See, very important is where your project proposal fits to which funding agency. This is very important. Means based on your proposal, your area of research, you have to first and foremost identify the funding agency, because every funding agency will not support every funding proposal, right? And that's why to map your funding proposal with a particular funding agency is very important before making the application. So identify the funding agency based on your area of research. Appropriate funding agencies to be identified. Then you have to read out what are the proposal format of a particular agency, because you will have idea of your project proposal, but the proposal is to be drafted as per the funding agency format. Trust area list, again, this will help you to find out, and that's why proposal format, trust area of a particular funding agency will help you to select the funding agency. Investigators, collaborators, definitely you have to work out with PI, co-PI. If you are collaborating with any other institutes for some part of your project, you should also uh, draft it out, which are the collaborators. Available infrastructure, this is very important. What is available with your institute or at premises, and again, a budget and requirements for your projects you have to propose. Introduction should be very important, precise, specify the problem and the need for the present study. See, very important aspect of drafting a funding proposal is to identify the problem. Means how, see, and that's why whenever I'm always asking my students, also my PG students, what, why, and how are the three questions to be addressed. You are preparing for any proposal or for any research project, right? What, why, and how means what you want to do, right? Why you want to do, and how will you do. So what you want to do, right, will tell you your rationale, right? Why you, sorry, will be your aim and objectives. Why you want to do will rationalize your title with a literature support, means this is a required area for research work. And how means you have to give your a brief methodology, how will you give. So concrete aims and achievable objectives, limit to 3 or a maximum 4. You should not state too many objectives, right? Current national and international status of your capabilities to do this the project, in terms of what is the current national status on the area you are working or proposing, and the international status. Methodology, materials methods, field and lab investigations, work elements, what you will include in your work, time frame of activities, obviously the PERT chart, simultaneous sequential activities in terms of your time frame activities, and summary of expected contribution to R&D in your subject, and what you have done, right, and what you can contribute. Requirement of man, material, and available facilities that you are proposing that I will need this in the project. Budget, staff, no scholars and man hours to be used, no office assistants, permanent equipment, essential items, infrastructure, travel, hiring charges, no person per jeep, car or admissible taxi fare, overhead for the institutes like furniture, electricity, water supply, space. When you are proposing your budget, you should include the allowable cost and eliminate that is not allowable, right? And you have to justify your budget, very important. So this is about the various research funding agencies. And see, nowadays, as we know, it's what you can say, from the various chats or WhatsApp groups also, you can know which is a particular call open from a particular funding agency. And around the various calls are open from different agencies. And if you are fitting appropriately for your projects, You may see research grant will not be obtained on a first attempt, right? You have to be very bold to apply repeatedly with improvement. But once you apply for first proposal, you will learn many things, right? Probably sometimes they may be giving you the reasons why it was not considered. Based on that learnings, you can do second time better, right? Same way like it's publishing in a good reputed journal, right? You can learn from the comments of the reviewers when you are starting for your first publication. So see, it's every new day is a learning day at any age, right? But you should focus that we should keep up with trying so hard on a next attempt, and that's we should do in a research. So thank you all.
Now the session is open for the question and answering. If any participant has a doubt, then they can ask to the sir.
Yes.
Yes, Tarannum sir.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, actually, I have one doubt. Actually, I have completed my PhD, just submitted. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Then I want some information about that research funding. Means how can I apply for that, or how can I prepare for that?
See, ma'am, as I am narrated, see what is your core area of research? What publications you have? In which area you are conducting your research, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, suppose you earned your PhD, right? And definitely you will have some good publications in this 5 years tenure.
UGC approved journal. Actually, sir, I published my research paper in UGC approved journals. Hello, sir, am I audible?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Patel, sir.
Yes, madam, you are audible.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. So based on your publications and your work area in last 5 years, right?
Okay.
You may extend your work, what you have already done in that area. You may extend if there is a scope for further research in that area, right? Or you may propose a new work for a research in a similar area where you have some experience with some publications, because the funding agency nowadays expect that you should go in some specific area where you can come to a better research in your core area. So as you are PhD, you may have your publication in last 5 years in the particular area of your research interest, and accordingly you may extend your research in the same area if there is a scope, or you may work in a or prepare a proposal in a similar area where you can show the funding agency that I am capable and able to carry out the research in this area. That's a key requirement. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else? Sir, really a fruitful session, because from the different discipline like engineering, education, MBA, and pharmacy, all faculty member has joined this session. and some are the younger faculty and some are the very senior faculty. You have covered both the point, how to get the grant for the younger faculty and how to get the grant for the senior faculty. So very informative and fruitful session. We will definitely, sir, try to get the grant from the research, because as a grant-in-aid component, some of the institutes are the grant-in-aid component and they are totally depend on to the fund from the agency.
Yeah.
So it's a very good session, sir. And thanks for giving your time from your busy schedule, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
And sir, if you permit, then we can take a snap with the participants.
Yeah, sure, sure.
So request to all the participants, kindly turn on your video. Okay, sir. Our next speaker, Rajiv June, sir, has joined the session.
So, sir, I am leaving, right?
Yeah, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.